What could I learn from this experience? I decided that it was at least a good thing that he told me. If I had worked there another 5 years and not known about the unwritten rule, I think I really would have been distraught. So I found myself a role as a managing director of a global software company and never looked back. Reframing experiences like this is beautifully covered in part 2 of this book, and I can tell you that changing perspectives is a useful and nurturing tool to have in your kit bag. Of course, you can experience imbalance and unfairness whether you identify as a man or a woman in business. This book is aimed at women so that we can stop talking about including women through quotas and start being inundated with their applications and desire to get involved. The barriers that we think stand in our way may not actually be in the way. You don't necessarily need more knowledge or skills to be at the top. You may have a self-limiting belief or a story you tell yourself that stops you getting there. My coping mechanism for my first role as a managing director was to avoid offering solutions and to be constantly curious, to ask questions about everything. That way, I couldn't run out of answers. Plus, I learned a lot very fast. Once I let go of needing to know everything, I felt free and surrounded by competent people who felt they had the space to contribute. Learning the ability to question as a way of coping with your own fears of inadequacy makes you interested versus interesting. Through this book, Susie will take you on this journey. It is important to find your own way. Let this book be your guide. Susie breaks this book down into 3 simple parts, which cover understanding how you operate, developing the courage to be the best version of yourself, and then marketing that to the world in a way that creates impact and opportunity. Stand your ground and own the space that you command. Use this book to turn the volume up on your voice and to maximize your impact. Diverse teams really matter and are needed more now than ever to break the currency of hide it, keep it, and don't share it, to promoting a culture of openness, tolerance, and a celebration of differences. If we are to thrive in a digital future, we must ensure that all of our voices are heard. If we don't, we risk creating a world for the few and not for the many. If you're serious about making an impact in a way that ignites the best in you, this book is required reading. Jacqueline is president of Tech UK and co-chair of the board for the Institute of Coding. She is an advisor and a non-executive director on several PLC boards, as well as a business mentor at the Merit Group. She is passionate about diversity and inclusion in all its forms, which informs the support she lends at the Youth Group HQ, Accelerate Her, and the Guide Association. Jacqueline was awarded a CBE for services to international trade in technology in the Queen's New Year Honours List 2018. Introduction. When you have big goals you haven't achieved before, you sometimes need to be forced into action by something you have a strong opinion about. I was on the panel at Women in Sport in 2018, and I heard a phrase I hadn't heard before. You can't be what you can't see. I instantly got that uneasy feeling in my stomach that I get when I want to reject something. I have a strong leaning towards that which is helpful, and in my view, this phrase was simply not. What a disempowering thing to believe, as if there aren't enough reasons for women to remain somewhat invisible in the workplace. Now, there is a phrase confirming that there aren't enough role models and giving us license to play small, to settle, to wait for someone else to set an example we can be inspired by. I have a fundamental problem with that. It gave me the nudge I needed to write a book on personal growth, one that I felt hadn't been written yet, and certainly not with the anecdotes and stories that have worked so beautifully with my clients. I want to stop the hundreds of thousands of women who are capable and brilliant from getting